Vaulties, ghouls, and deathclaws. Oh my. Welcome back to to Project Geekology, episode 154. Today we are covering Fallout Season 2. We covered the original Fallout Season 1 a couple years back. We loved it. And now we're back with our discussion of Fallout Season 2, which just finished airing a couple weeks ago as of recording this episode. I am one-fourth of your hosts, Dakota, and I'm joined as always with...
Anthony, hold on, just give me a moment. I dropped my arm. Let me pick it up and just toss it over my shoulder. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to pass it over to one of our other hosts.
Rich, and I'm over here counting caps. Just trying to amass all that wealth right now because I'm finna take over. But we do have one more person with us this week, and that is...
Hi, I'm Jen. Just eating a couple of sugar bombs.
Rich, did I hear that correctly? You used to work for a living?
Oh yes, I did. But now I just pop off caps, baby. I do nothing. I just sit back and have my small minion of the classroom of students, and they just open bottle caps all day. Forget about essay instruction. It's all about me getting that wealth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you running a minor sweatshop over there. You got you're running some child labor over there
at his school. Yeah, he's a teacher, and he's been forcing the children to.
The track team is literally running to different towns and getting more caps. Like that's why I coach track. The fastest kids, you want to make sure they don't get eaten by the death claws.
The school board is gonna walk by your classroom a lot more frequently now to make sure that it's not actually happening.
Guys, we are covering Fallout Season 2. We're excited, obviously. But before we get into any of that, what have we been up to this past week? Let's start with Jen.
Swerve.
What have you been up to this past week?
Why do I never know what I've been up to? Your guess is as good as mine, really. We watched X-Files.
Yeah, we've been on an X-File kick. Now that Jen is pregnant, it is very hard to watch more than like one or two episodes at a sitting. But X-Files seems to keep her awake most times, which is
really saying something.
Really saying something, yeah, because she falls asleep at anything nowadays. But
I just got my iron levels checked.
It seems like a willpower. It seems like a willpower issue versus a, ability to stay awake issue. I don't know. Perhaps
it's a willpower. Perhaps it's just fear of the unknown, which X-Files seems to elicit. But what else have you been up to?
Every day I come home from work.
Been reading?
I take a nap.
Reading anything?
No, I've been sleeping. I come home, I take a nap, I wake up, I eat, and then I go back to sleep. I watch one episode of X-Files while I eat, and then I fall asleep again. I've been watching my own dreams, and they're pretty interesting. Very vivid.
You've been watching it? Okay. How about Disney vlogs? I know you like Disney vlogs.
Yeah, I do. I watch a lot of Disney vlogs.
Anything good? Anything good over there?
Kevin Pin trades, Mr. Morrow eats. It's, pretty standard stuff. I love watching them, though. I love those people just walking around being happy all day.
Fair enough. Anthony, I'm going to shoot it over to you. How many bottle caps have you collected this week?
I'm always collecting them off of all the raiders that I have to fight off. I've run into a few groups of Caesar's Legion, and the NCR was nowhere to be found, but I guess they ended up showing in the end. But I've been watching a lot of One Piece, man. Just a exorbitant amount of One Piece. I've been trucking through Fishman Island. I know after that is the Dressrosa arc, where you have that. I don't know if you've ever seen the character Don Quixote do Flamingo. He's got this pink feather thing that goes around his neck.
He's got the crazy sunglasses.
Right. I say that. I always think that he looks like he's from Miami. And so,
probably is. Yeah.
I'm coming. I'm just I call him the Miami guy. But yeah, no, I'm coming up on that. I've been trucking through. I'm well over 500 episodes now. I kind of like I jumped back onto Fallout New Vegas. This show got me wanting to play New Vegas again. I mean, I love the Fallout games, so the fact that, like, you know, we've been getting a show has, you know, respected the material so far. It's got me excited to hop back onto that and play that. So I had started a new save. You know, might be like Rich, where, you know, he does his yearly Red Dead Redemption 2. I'll you know, do my yearly Persona, and then, you know, Fallout New Vegas. You know, and then maybe one of these times we can get Dakota into the fold of the you know, Persona and the Fallout. Maybe. Have you played Fallout, Dakota?
Yeah, I did. I actually played
Oh,
for a couple weeks after the first season.
yes, I
It
think
was
you
fun.
did 4,
I,
right?
I started 4, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
Fallout.
I falled out of that. So
You falled out of that.
it's been it's been a minute,
So
but it was fun while it lasted.
you know, now it's time to fall back in. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like for the most part, I've been playing that. I feel like there's something else that I've been doing, but I always forget. There's always something that I forget. I'll probably remember later, well after we're done recording. So, you know, I'll pass it over to Rich.
Let's see. You know, finish Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which I've really been enjoying. Hopefully, we'll down the road talk about that show. I just absolutely love it. I can't remember the kid's name, but the actor who plays Egg, he's been on a lot of like reels, whatever, on my feed, and he's just adorable. And it's so funny because he's like 11, and I'm like, this kid is the cutest, right? I'm like, man, I wish I had a kid, you know, like I hung out with a kid like that. And I'm like, oh, my son's 11. So I think what I have to do is I have to shave his head, right? Like I think that like it increases Charlie's cool quotient, and he just grew his hair out, so that might be a problem. But he did contribute to an amazing moment, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm not sure if you know this. I know this because when I wake up in the morning, I go ahead and go check out the new video on Long Live the Timeline, obviously, to see what's going on for that day. And you guys at home listening in your ear holes, all right, and you guys looking at me will not believe what I'm about to say. Innocuously, my son goes, hey, I told mom about a new way that I'm going to remember where the sun rises and where it sets. Right. And I'm thinking like, okay, so he's like he's trying to learn Japanese. He's really into anime, right? Like he's going to say something about the land of the rising sun, right? Nope. He goes, so you know how this is legitimate. Do you know how at the Battle of the Hornburg beforehand Gandalf said on the third day, look to the east at dawn? Okay. He goes, so I remember that you look to the east because that's where the sun rises. And I said, did you know, in fact, sir, that today was that day in the third age of 3019? And we just, I mean, the love that I've never, I don't think, felt more proud. It was unbelievable. Kismet that he would bring it up on today, all days. And I was like, I know he's on YouTube, so I was like, did you wake up and watch the timeline video? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dakota's. He's like, oh, no, I didn't. He's like, why? I'm like, you can't possibly have accidentally stumbled on the fact that today is that day. But so an exciting day in parenthood. Like, honestly, this is going to be top 7 no matter what. Like, there's no way that this happens again. My heart is full.
I'm very happy that, you know, that happened to you, and that I was in some small incremental fashion a way to bridge that particular knowledge gap with your child. That's pretty cool.
The only way that honestly this could be better, right, is if the only way I could feel better right now is if everyone out there just, you know, did something for us, maybe something a little kind, you know. I mean, we are officially sponsored by Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA, and maybe you guys could leave us
sponsored.
Not officially.
I
Okay,
I,
not
I
yet.
knew
Not yet.
I knew it. Like there was some build up there, and I'm like, there's something sus about to be said.
But
Continue.
really, do you guys disagree, Anthony? Do you think that there can't be a little juicy gift at the beginning of the show?
I can see it. I'm not Anthony, but I can see it. I can see a little juicy gift at the start of the show, courtesy of our listeners. So if you haven't already, which you probably have because we've asked many times, but if you haven't, you're one of the rare few who have yet to go onto your podcast application or platform and click that 5-star button on our podcast. Give it a nice juicy review. It has you don't even have to say the word juicy, but like if you believe that it's a juicy review, it'll come out that way in your actual review of our podcast. And we love that. We love you guys. We love all the reviews we get here. That help push the show just a little bit further.
Yeah, and if you're new here, you could just stop listening and review the past 12 minutes. How do you feel about that conversation? Did we say enough about our days? Did we say enough about our weeks? Are you satisfied with the information that you have about our lives? Let us know.
I don't think they are. They haven't even heard what I did last week.
Oh, that's true. Well, too bad.
By any
There's
chance, Dakota, did you bend your arms backward last week?
Like Laura Palmer? Yes, I did. I hurt. No. Yeah, I've being with Jen all the time, I pretty much doing the same thing as her, save for I'm continuing to reread the Harry Potter books. I'm well into Order of the Phoenix now. Really happy that I'm able to map most of the days in Order of the Phoenix. It's actually very clear. Starting with Goblet of Fire, it's very, very clear that Rowling has decided to start mapping out her story on a calendar. Like she's using a physical calendar, like these are the days of the week that they have this class, and this class, and she follows it throughout the entire book. It starts in book 4, and I'm so excited because that makes it so much easier for me to figure out what days of the week and year each of these events are actually happening. Still some crazy timeline errors. She's really not good at it. But when she is mapping to a time or to a calendar, it does make it easier. The issue with Rowling and calendars is that she uses the calendar that she would have had easy access to that year. So Order of the Phoenix, she wrote it in 2002. It takes place in 1995. You would think, oh, let's get a 1995 calendar for this. No, let's map it to the 2002 calendar. And that's, it's better than nothing. I take it. I accept it. It's kind of like cute in a way. It's just like, she tried, I'm not that mad, but it's just kind of funny. She used the wrong calendar.
Figure it out?
I figured it out with Goblet of Fire. Because it was so consistently wrong. It was always wrong by 2 days. Like, it was always 2 days I think it was too late, like, in the school year. It should have been 1994, 1995 for Goblet of Fire. And I was just like, how is she so consistently 2 days late? And then I started looking at the, like, where her dates correlated with weekdays. And I was just like, oh, she used the calendar from the year that she wrote the book. And that's where it's pegged to. So I'm hoping that in Half-Blood Prince or Deathly Hallows, when I get to it, she will have either figured out like to use a previous year's calendar, or she will land on another year where the dates line up on the same day. I'm hoping that one or the other. So anyway. That's what I've been up to. More dates have been imported into Long Live the Timeline. The project is now 476 entries, big and growing, and I'm very excited about it. It's a really fun project, and yeah, let's jump into. Oh, I got some dates from Fallout too. Like, there's a couple dates that from this season I was just like going in.
Nice.
Birthday going in. So yeah, stuff like that is pretty cool. Anyway.
What is it, like April 16th?
Fallout.
Isn't his daughter's birthday is like originally like April 23rd or 16th or something, and it gets moved like a week?
I don't know. We started watching season 2 when it first came out, and then we stopped until this past week. So we We only watched like the past like 6 episodes.
Because there's a scene with Mr. House where I think like the date is actually.
That, yes. Oh, so yes, that is a date that I was able to put. And it's actually a really interesting date, and I want to talk about it because I think that it's kind of a very important story beat. He basically says, "Do you want to know the date of the end of the world? No, it doesn't really interest you, Cooper." And then he goes, "What about this date?" And he gives it, and I think it is April 16th. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he gives the date of the birth of Cooper's child, and he says that what's interesting about that date is at this exact moment, that's when all the data coalesced and gave me the end of the world, basically. So the birth of Cooper's daughter was the turning point where he was able to calculate the end of the world. And that's the coolest thing ever. Like, what does that mean? Like, why? And why does him showing up in Vegas push pull the timeline forward by a whole month? Like, what exactly is happening, and why is he so integral to nuclear war? Interesting stuff. Sorry, I'm going way deep. Let's pull it back. What are our thoughts on season 2? Anthony, what did you've been playing a lot more Fallout throughout your lifetime than me. Obviously, you thought that the first season was extremely faithful to the source material and added onto it. How do you feel the second season lived up to that, or didn't?
I feel like it was definitely a continuation of that faithfulness, because you get the two factions that are like very prominent in Fallout New Vegas. The NCR, the New California Republic, and Caesar's Legion. Like, that's an actual like faction in Fallout New Vegas, and they dress up as like Roman, as like, you know, Roman centurions and stuff. Yeah, it's so wild, like seeing how, like, I mean, you see how like crazy the world of like Fallout is in this show. It's literally like how it is in the game. They even have like the scorpions that are in Fallout New Vegas, where they fight the scorpions. This is the game that you get those in. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they have the scorpions and everything. There's some backing track that they use that is mostly from Fallout 4, like the menu music, which I'm like I'm completely fine with, because the utilization of it is like really good, and like, where it is Fallout. So the fact that dog meat, and you get dog meat in the first season, which is literally a companion that you get in Fallout 4. So it's just, dude, it's insane. Like, it blows my mind how well that they've done what they did. Like, Robert House was in Fallout New Vegas. There's a lot of and then, yeah, dude, we got the death claws in this one, and death claws are like, I mean, like, facing up against one is tough. Several of them, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm out. Even in power armor, yeah, I'm out.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I was definitely like enjoying myself over this like rewatch. So yeah, no, I think it's just fantastic.
Rich, do you agree in terms of the adherence to the source material, and like, did you find anything that like leapt out to you as like, that doesn't feel very Fallout-y?
I don't think I have ever seen or will ever see a better video game adaptation than this. I think that the reason why, like, Last of Us, for example, maybe garnered some negative praise is because those were stories being told that we played as a character. The Resident Evil movies, like, they generally get panned, and a lot of that's because you're playing as certain characters with certain stories and certain beats that we expect. I think the real advantage that Fallout has is that essentially you are the main character. So I came into the series with, like, I want to see Pip Boys, and I want to see the I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but the bobbleheads that you collect. I wanted to see like those things, right? Sugar bombs being in it, amazing, right? Like the attention to detail of the little tiny background things, just the caked on dirt everywhere. I remember when I played New Vegas, I had gone to my wife's family lives in New Mexico and Arizona on her father's side, so we went down there, and I remember driving around going like, whoa, like this is New Vegas, like Red Rocks, man, like this is vast and empty and dry for miles. And I remember how I hated mountains. Like mountains are my biggest enemy in Fallout New Vegas, because you'd get somewhere, you'd be so close, but no, there's a mountain range there. This series is just the bee's knees. I don't know if it can do anything wrong. I really don't. I accept it all as canon. I love it. It's Coop's in it. Like, I mean, this is just a delight. It's a delight.
Jen, was it nice seeing Coop in something again?
I mean, I love that man.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's really fun to watch on the screen. He's really like endearing, and I love seeing him as like a villain.
We're talking Kyle MacLachlan here. Yeah.
I love seeing him as a villain. I liked when he was like, when he got microchipped. I don't know what the professional term is that they use for those.
The professional term.
I don't know what their phrases is when he got a microchip. And then I thought he was going to go into like Dougie mode. He just kind of sat there for a while.
Yeah.
But seeing him as a villain is really fun. I think the last time that we saw him in like a somewhat, I mean, at least for me, when I say we, I mean me, a somewhat villainous role is kind of in like Sex and the City. Was the last time we saw him. And
hold on, wait, Mr. C, what about his villainous role in Twin Peaks: The Return? Are you not
Well,
but no, I think
in this
it's
show. He is Mr. C. You know.
Wait, I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know who that is. Only Mr. C.
Yeah, well, the issue with like comparing him to Mr. C is that their personalities are so very different. Like he's like Hank is kind isn't the right word because it's fake kindness, but he's like a saccharine sweet type of, like he kind of falls into the same category as like a Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter, where like outwardly extremely kind, but
he's
he's
nice but not kind.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I think like in Sex and the City, he plays a character named Trey McDougal, where he like is doing all the right things, but there's something wrong. I don't want to go into like the details, but there's like something wrong with him, and it takes a while to figure out what. And I feel like that's, to me, his character, his catchphrase too in Sex and the City is alrighty, and then in this they always say okie dokie. So I kept it right. That's what they say, okie dokie.
Yeah. Yes, that's Lucy's catchphrase. Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's like the campiness, but there's also something seriously psychologically wrong with you that I don't know. I'm happy seeing him play in a role like this.
Yeah, he's such a great actor too. I think he has a lot of range, and he has a serious on-screen gravity. Like he could, and he was a movie star at some point, but like recently, the past couple decades, he's been mostly TV. And I think most of his career, he's been mostly TV. But
wasn't he in like a Marvel show too?
He was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah, he was somebody's dad.
He was
right?
Daisy's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You just didn't know him as Coop then. So
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I didn't know who he was.
But I feel like that show didn't really shine like his, I don't know, talent as much.
Yeah, I have to rewatch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Having a better grasp on Kyle MacLachlan as an actor. But yeah, I love him. I think he's such a great draw for something like this, because in a world where everything is nitty gritty, he happens to be the one guy who's always somehow clean and like well put together. It's just such a nice, it's a bizarre contrast. One thing that I want to talk about, because we're talking a little bit about the like the adherence to canon, like the idea that this can happen in this world. It's a term called verisimilitude, where it feels like it totally fits within this world. So one thing that I thought was really cool, and going back into the first season, is that they show management in such a huge way. Like the big players in the Fallout universe are kind of all, maybe not at the forefront, but orbiting the characters in the past and the future. We still have Robert House in the future. We had Robert House in the past. We had other characters within Vault-Tec management and stuff that I think is really fascinating, because I don't have huge... I never really played the games all that much, besides a little bit of Fallout 4. So I don't have like the grasp on these characters, but I've done the research, and I feel like this is probably the most that we've gotten for like from like these bigwigs. And I think that it's cool that we're getting not only what's happening past a certain point, because this is the latest thing on the Fallout timeline, but prior to the actual Fallout as well, and the flashbacks. I correct me if I'm wrong there. I might be totally off, but I do think that them telling the full story in its own way, is, without stepping on the toes of any of the other games, is really impressive.
Well,
Yeah, I feel like it fills in a good bit of a lot of holes that the games don't have holes. I guess it just visualizes stuff in the past, because a lot of the exposure of stuff from the past is experienced through notes, holotapes, and maybe ghouls like that lived back then. A lot of the times, like the games, they don't have cutscenes and stuff. They don't cut to the past. Everything is like experienced within the game. And I mean, sure, there's some like Fallout 4 will start like when the bombs are dropped, and then you go into the vault, and then you fast forward into the future, right? Because you're cryo sleeping, and then you get, and then you get bits and pieces of each game, like you're getting out of the vault at like different times. Fallout 76 is earlier in the timeline, and then Fallout 4 is like further in the timeline. So I definitely do appreciate that we're learning a lot more about the past and like what's happening, we really, really got a lot of Cooper's story in this one, and I like that a lot.
Like that we're just calling him Cooper now.
No, we're not talking. We're actually talking about Cooper.
Yeah, the
Cooper
actual,
Howard.
the actual Cooper.
Yeah, wait, I got confused. I was like, did he just call him Cooper?
No, we got very little of his story. Like,
That's why I was confused too.
I need to know more about Kyle MacLachlan's whole plan, because
he's gonna minimize. What did he keep saying?
Right, because he's part of a group that in the show we don't know a lot of the Enclave, which the Enclave, they're like a big antagonist in 3 and New Vegas. So like you experience them a lot in those games. So I mean, it's really exciting. Like I'm telling you, like they're knocking it out of the park with these like different factions. The Brotherhood of Steel, the fact that there's different factions of the Brotherhood of Steel is really awesome. And then they talk about the Commonwealth Brotherhood of Steel, which is the ones that you experience in Fallout 4.
Yeah. I mean,
does it make sense? Sorry to cut you off, Rich. Does it make sense? I'll throw this over to you, Rich. Does it make sense for Robert House to not know about the Enclave? Because like he kept saying like there's another party that's doing this, and I don't know who they are, when he seems to be keeping track of everyone.
well, they say. I mean, that's what the Enclave does best. Even the house always wins in Vegas. It doesn't necessarily have to win everywhere else. The Enclave is far more expansive than just one region, and kind of far more insidious.
I see what you're saying.
I think what I mean, what I thought was like a really interesting idea because Anthony, you've played enough games, you know that there's just a history of really weird vaults where experiments are being done. And it's always felt like Vault Tech or whoever always intended for the experiments to be in the vaults. And then that kind of big reveal that Hank, shares that the experiment is actually the surface. And that blew my mind. Like I mean it completely turns the franchise, I think, in a whole new direction, and I see it in a different light now. I mean, now that also means that what Hank did in blowing up Shady Sands was scientific. It wasn't to thwart mankind. It was, you guys are screwing up my experiment. Like, oh, it's, I don't know. Everything to me is different after that revelation.
Did you catch, Jen, like what the experiment was, or do you have like any idea like what is going on with the experiment? Because obviously, like, there's the experiments in the vaults, but there's supposedly a larger experiment on the surface. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I thought that, like, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I interpreted it as they microchipped everybody and they're planning on making them docile at some point. What am I missing?
Yeah, I was a little bit confused about what Hank meant by the surface being the real experiments.
Because it seemed like they were like building those little microchips now.
But they weren't building small ones. They were building the large ones.
Mm-hmm.
And
he kept saying minimize.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he had really tiny ones after he had just perfected the large ones. So I was very confused. The timeline truncation when Lucy finally gets to see her father is really, in my opinion, at least from a first viewing, really egregious. Like, I felt like so much happens within a 1 hour period, roughly. You would assume it's about a 1 hour period, where she, they between like her being upstairs and pressing the button so that Legionnaire was able to, be given the implant, whatever. And then she was just like, all right, I'm going to go downstairs to see where the mainframe is. And then that guy was already downstairs mopping after, like, I was like, okay. And then, like, right after she gets out, she kills that one senator lady who was being kept alive for centuries. Then all of a sudden he has... Meanwhile, like, upstairs, they're mass producing the large scale, like the large size implants for the back of the neck. And then when they go downstairs, Hank says that he's minimized them somehow in that short span. And not only that, he sent it out into the into the wilderness, like into the world. And I'm like, how? When? This has been in 30 minutes, maybe max? How'd you do that? I was very confused by the timeline truncation of that last episode.
It all comes down to timelines in the end with you, doesn't it?
I mean, it does, because that's how I think. But, like, if it... Do you guys see it differently? Am I missing something? Did I started watching the season when it first came out. Then I paused for like 2 months. So after episode 3, we jumped into episode 4, and, we watched the last 5 episodes within this past week. I don't know. I forget what happens in the first 3 and if that answers the question. I know he was like practicing on mice, but the mice were exploding too.
He got good really quick off screen, kind of. Yeah. I mean, he practiced on the mice and then he got it right. It's just like a quick building montage, buddy. It wasn't, we didn't, I don't think I've...
Am I seeing it different? Like, am I seeing it incorrectly? Am I understanding it wrong?
Well, because think about it. I mean, there was a lot of people in there that he had under his control. That was a lot of people. So at some points, after him perfecting that larger chip, they must have been working on... at some point, he must have worked on that smaller chip sent some of the and then sent some of the people out, but then there's also people out there in the world that might have the larger chips, because he said that, like, I mean, it's like they're coded from centuries ago, you know?
Yeah, I was very confused about that revelation, and that has like tripped me up ever since the finale. I've been very confused about. He ended up clicking the button. He became docile for a second and forgot who Lucy was. Did anyone else? And I was expecting like the people in the town, like near all the death claws. I was expecting them to be like, "Who am I? You know, what are you doing here?" That's when that button got clicked. But that didn't happen, obviously. So I'm just trying to understand: did that happen to anyone else, or
I think that's like something that will be answered next season, though.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that was just him. I think that was essentially his version of like a cyanide capsule. Like he just, because they like, we knew that it was going to, kind of erase their mind, and like I mean
Yeah.
that's essentially what he was like trying to do with Lucy, right? Like he was trying to put one of those on her so that she kind of forgot everything that he kind of did. I'm not too sure if there's a level of if he can control how much is like erased, or if it's just like a complete blank slate that I just don't know this person anymore. I don't know anybody anymore.
It seems like blank slate. I mean, if you see what happens to the guy from the NCR, right? Like he doesn't remember anything, and like she starts asking him questions, and Hank's kind of like, ixnay on the questions, like don't make him think too hard about this stuff. And also it doesn't seem like he had answers. Like they're docile enough that their memories are erased, but also when like directly questioned, they don't seem to have an irritation that they don't remember anything.
You know what my favorite line read of the entire series was? When Hank is asking that one random guy whether or not he would like his memory wiped, all the good memories, all the bad memories, your entire life. And then there's like a quick pause, and the guy goes, "Please, yes."
Oh,
So Dakota and I were laughing so hard at that.
It's the funniest line read of that. "Please, yes." Like, all your good memories will be gone.
but that
Please,
guy
yes.
gets like violated by like a cockroach. Like
I know.
he's been through some stuff.
But he's been through stuff like happily. Like he's got a smile on his face at all times. Like they're the show. Like he's obviously sketchy. He's a sketchy dude.
Dude, he is so high. He's on a cocktail of drugs. All right, it's the only thing that keeps him going. And you know what? Great that you brought him up, because he gave our pal, who I'm blanking on his name. I don't know what. Our former Brotherhood pal, who thinks he's a ghoul, but he is indeed not a ghoul. I don't believe. If you notice, he
The
did.
armless man.
Yes, his arm fell off. I can't remember. Thaddeus. So Thaddeus, he's got the mouth. His arm fell off. Anthony, you've been playing this series for a long time. So have I. I don't think he's a ghoul at all, man.
Like that. That is just like insane. That looks like in the game how like when you become irradiated, like you can grow like an extra limb or something. That's what it makes me think of. He's just like severely he's irradiated, and he has like a mouth on his shoulder now. That was just like even Cooper, like when he shows him, Cooper's just like he's like,
yeah, that.
I mean, like, look, if a ghoul is looking at you like, okay, that's weird, then you know that, okay, that this dude is not a ghoul.
So I think it's one of two things. I think it's either that really creepy, like pink creature that's just like head, almost like a centaur, I think it's called in the game. I believe it's in Fallout 3 mostly. And then the other idea is that I wonder if he is. So we got to see super mutants, right? Where we got to see a super mutant.
Yes, dude, voiced by Ron Perlman.
So I don't think it's FEV.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The super mutants were caused by a mutation by the FEV virus, I believe. I think the Enclave was involved in that in the games. So that super mutant to me, like, it establishes that Thaddeus is not a super mutant and he's not a ghoul. It's something else. And I think it's this pink centaur creature that's really gross looking and not human at all. So I don't know how they're going to do this. You know,
dude, when Cooper was getting dragged like by some like huge like hulking creature, I was like, oh, that's got to be a super mutant. And then I saw that meat bag that they usually have hanging around.
Oh yeah, the meat bag! I got so excited.
I was just like, oh yeah, that's a super mutant.
Yeah,
so it was. So that super mutant was voiced by Ron Perlman.
He's the best.
Yep.
I mean, Hellboy.
I was like, man, that sounds like him. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was him.
I wish it would have been that super mutant that's got like a flower dress and a straw hat. I think in Fallout 4. He can be one of your companions. I just would have been. I mean, the shroud and stuff is great. I get it, but
I forgot about the super mutant that you can like befriend. Yeah, like I know but I like was it Nick Valentine or something like that?
the synth baby.
Yeah. The like you get a ghoul in Fallout 4 like as a companion, and he's like a detective.
Whoa! We're gonna get so much hate mail right now. Okay. Nick Valentine is a synth, all right? And
you're right. You're right. He is a synth.
Whew, we almost got canceled.
Oh my
guys.
gosh, dude, we haven't even gotten those yet,
you.
bro. I'm telling you, like, there's so much like lore in this game.
We're going too deep. Yeah, what's cool is that there is so much lore that they can pull from, and they're still adding lore on top of it. And this is, they're still adding more to the story. Like Rich said, they are changing up what the idea of the experiment as a whole is.
And it works because like it's not super, some of the stuff is not super detailed in the game, right? I mean the game like does a really good job at covering stuff, but there's still stuff that is not 100% explained. And kind of back to what Rich was saying about these games and how what makes it a really good adaptation is that you are the main character and that everything that is experienced is you. You create your character, you make the decision for everything of this character, what they say, how they look, and then as long as you're faithful with, I mean obviously you needed that retro futuristic vibe, right? You needed the oldies music that is like very prominent. You need to see the Pit Boys and all the and then like the weapons, like the pipe weapons. The power gauntlet that Lucy gets in this.
Whew.
I was like, bro, the super sledge too. That was it that like the ambassador from the Commonwealth, he had that sledgehammer with the rocket on the end of it.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, straight up from the game, super sledge. It's something that you get. It's crazy. I'm telling you. Like, I mean, there was a lot of fan service, but it was done so well.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was fan service because I've never played this game.
What do you think about, Jen? How do you feel about a one-eyed, an evil woman with an eye patch from Canada?
I like how she just, like, her mom, I'm assuming the person was her mom, was like, don't view them as people, view them as Americans.
Was it
like, way to dehumanize us.
Nadine.
Yeah, whenever.
Yeah, wait, we've got a Cooper. We've got a one-armed man. We've got a Nadine.
Oh, man.
We do have a one-armed man.
It's a one-armed man.
What's going on here?
This is just a Twin Peaks remake.
You brought up the super mutant played by Ron Perlman. I don't want to linger too much on that, but in my head, like when he was dragging him to his, like den or whatever, it looked like Frankenstein in Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Like the big Frankenstein in a hood, like dragging something from behind. I know it probably wasn't, referencing that. I think it's just like my mind is working like that because we just watched it, but I thought that was kind of cool.
Do you guys? So obviously, like Anthony and I, this is almost like a love letter to us. Do I think that a lot of the enjoyment that Anthony and I are getting from it is like things like sugar bombs, things like this. The small things and the big things. Uh, Obviously, that doesn't hit for you guys the same way. Does that change how you see the show?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, to me, it's just like I'm in a totally new world. It's like I'm just watching a completely new show that I know nothing about. The world, like, there's a lot going on, which confuses me because you're just kind of thrown in and not a lot is explained. Like, for example, with the Legion, I don't get where they got their outfits from. Like, I don't know. Why do they have this stuff?
Oh, you're
Okay.
not. Yeah, that's not. I don't. They just do.
You guys don't have like an answer to that? They just do? Did they make them? Was
Sure.
there like a
Sure,
was
they
there
made
like
them.
a Roman themed play
I mean, there
in Vegas
technically
that they
there
just
is.
took the outfits from?
I mean, all jokes aside, if it's canonical or not, but you have Caesar's Palace, right, in Las
Kaiser's
Vegas.
Palace.
Yeah.
So
Kaiser's
I mean,
Palace.
it could even be like props. I mean, there's the Elvis dudes, right? So like some of it's Vegas.
The Elvis dudes I loved. I love them so much.
So to jump onto what Jen's saying, this was my first foray into Fallout. Obviously, I've known about Fallout my entire life. I've been around people playing it. I just never personally, sat down to play it. But this was my first true, maybe not this season, but the show in general. It was my first true foray into this world. And the only reason I started playing the game after the first season was because it was such a realized world, if that makes sense. I didn't need to know every little facet of how things worked. I just knew that this worked this way, that worked that way, and these are the physical laws of reality in this system of this universe. And that was so well realized in the show, in both season 1 and season 2, that I never question, this is something that can or cannot happen in this story, even though some things are a little bit goofier, campier, more grotesque, more sterile in some ways. Like, there are certain aspects of this world that, with each individual part totally makes sense within the fabric of the story. And that's why I like it so much, just because it's I'm only getting one piece to this puzzle, but it's a very easy to understand piece of the puzzle, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me too, like I don't need to know everything. The world is really grotesque and interesting, but for me the standout is the characters, the character development, and just the overall theme of like the themes of like love and hate. Like, you could still love someone even though you hate what they've done. Yeah. Like with Lucy and her father, and then the same with Cooper and his wife, where it's like they hate them, they hate what they've done, but you can't help but love your family. And we have just like what is human nature, what is a good person. Like, Max is looking for a good person, and I don't know, like Lucy I think is questioning that about herself, because she still clearly like had that moment where she was crying with her dad, even though she knew that he was a pretty big piece of crap.
Right. One thing that jumping back onto what I was just saying about like how the worlds felt complete even though I was only seeing a small part of it, I think of the first Star Wars movie. In that movie, you learn that there was a clone war back in the day. You learn that there was plenty of Jedi back in the day. You learn that Luke's father was killed by someone named Darth Vader. You learn about droids and aliens and this big empire that you don't know how it started, but you know that it's recent, you know that it's oppressive, and you know that it needs to be stopped. You need to know everything. you learn more than what you need to know in that movie, and same with Fallout. You're learning more about this world than is necessary for the plot. But when it comes to what you need to know for the plot, you're given plenty of information, and I think that that's kind of the sign of good storytelling and good world building.
Right. I think that this is a case of one of those. This is one of those pieces of media that you can watch and enjoy it without knowing anything from the games, but if you do, it pays off like a lot. You know.
Yeah, I could see that.
You, I mean, you see, Rich and I, we're geeking out about stuff, something even minor. You saw how Lucy she got addicted to Buff Out. That's literally something in the game. You can get, if you take too many meds, you can get addicted to the medicine, and then there's a way to get rid of it. You know, like it's either over time or the addictol, the like inhaler thing. So it's crazy that they even have like that little, like that minor little thing like that. You know.
Yeah.
That's just like my my Benadryl arc. Remember, Dakota, when I couldn't sleep, so I started taking Benadryl regularly. And then you're like, hey, you can't keep taking Benadryl every night. And then I got afraid of the Shadow Man.
The Hat Man.
The Hat Man, that's what it is. And then I was super scared of the Hat Man every night. And then I didn't want to take Benadryl because I was scared of the Hat Man. And then when I took the Benadryl, I was scared of the Hat Man.
If anyone doesn't know what the Hat Man is, it's a phenomenon that happens to people who take too much Benadryl at one time. So you were never really going to visit the Hat Man. The Hat Man was never going to visit you. But
I was so scared.
There's a... nobody really understands why, but there's like you go into a psychosis where a man in a hat, like a dark figure.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Hat Man. I'm scared.
Anyway, yeah, it's a
what?
bad.
Is this a bit
The
you
Hat
guys are
Man.
doing?
No,
This is a legitimate thing.
He's scary.
If you, it's been like well documented. If you take too much Benadryl, you will be visited by the Hat Man in your sleep. And it'll be like a figure like sitting by your bedside, very ominous, very dark. You don't want to talk to him.
I really don't want to talk about this. I don't know why I brought this up.
That
'Cause
sounds
now
like,
it's going to be bedtime after this, and I can't talk about the Hat Man.
That
I'm
sounds
too
like
scared.
sleep paralysis. Like,
Is this like the Scat
things that
Man?
people see from that.
Is he like
It's like the Scat Man.
No?
Yeah,
Look it up on your own.
and we're not talking about it after this. Rich, don't start bringing the Hat
Dakota,
Man.
get Jen some Addictol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was basically Lucy in that moment. I like how she's just like, I'm addicted to drugs.
She's
I guess I'll
like,
just
why am I
stop
so
taking
itchy?
them.
Like, what's going on? And then Cooper's like, yeah, you're addicted.
I love Cooper's advice. What I would do is just take more drugs.
Isn't it crazy how he goes from playing a cowboy on TV to like pretty much becoming a cowboy like 200 years later?
I love his two characters and how they're slowly merging into one, because they are two very different roles, essentially, that have the same background. And by the end of this season, we see his original Cooper Howard role blending into the Ghoul, like very succinctly, when he finally finds the vaults that his wife and child were supposed to be in. I love that scene because he's no longer the Ghoul in that scene. You know, he's not acting as the Ghoul in that scene. But yeah, I love that. I love that character. I think such a fantastic character to make a show around. If you guys were to pitch a Fallout story, would you revolve it around a Ghoul? I think most people wouldn't, but it makes for such a great like century-long storytelling.
I feel like a Ghoul is definitely essential for Fallout. Like, you definitely need a Ghoul. You know, I mean, they have the feral ghouls in there, which is important, and then the ones that like kind of maintain their sanity with those cocktails that they take. I'm pretty sure that isn't there a Ghoul in one of the games that is very similar? Like, he's kind of like a cowboy. No?
Yeah, there's like I don't know if he's a sheriff or something, but there is
Yeah, I think he's like a sheriff.
a very there is a similar kind of character to the ghoul. I guess I mean, the upside of picking a ghoul is that they can live for so long, right? So like that does make the most sense. I don't know if we really ever had a sense for the lifespan of super mutants. I don't think that we've ever kind of gotten documented proof that they've lived like, 80 or 100 years, where we have had evidence that ghouls have lived a very long time. So I guess from a plot device, kind of like Wolverine being able to go back and forth in the Days of Future Past type thing, I think that the ghoul is the access point in terms of creatures, because I mean the only other thing you can have is cryogenically frozen humans, right? That's the only thing that can jump the time, the time gap.
I have a question. Those like little kid ghouls, are they gonna grow? Like, are they gonna age, or do they just stay as little kid ghouls forever? And are they like they kind of just like abandoned all those kids? Are they gonna like go feral, or like do they have medicine?
They've never really had ghoul kids that I can remember too much. They don't really have that. And I also think that the cocktail of meds is something that is show specific, because I don't remember any ghoul. Like, it seemed in the game that it was like kind of divine providence. Like, whoever, like some ghouls didn't go full feral and some did. Like, I don't remember in the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I remember there being some sort of medicine in the games. Yeah, I think that just some got the short end of the stick, and they went full feral, and then some were able to keep their faculties.
Yeah, it's kind of like a disease almost, and like who can take it more than other people can,
Jen, what did you think of the Vault Dwellers this season? They were going through very different
Targaryen parties.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What was going on there?
I like how it was like people will victimize themselves in order to achieve an end. Like, I thought that was absolutely hilarious. It's like whatever is like we say, like, this will get you attention if you're like this. People are like, that's me. Sign me up. It's me now. And then they have like a support group. It's just human nature, especially in the vault, where it's like, I think their sense of identity is so thin because there's so little life experience. They all were just like, yes, we're going to identify with being byproducts of incest.
It's also interesting to me with the Vault Dwellers how you can tell which ones were born in the vaults and which ones were originally, part of the pre-war world.
Wait, I should like go to Greg and report Greg to himself and see what he does.
Yeah.
I would like to report somebody for some bad activities, and it's just me reporting Greg to Greg.
Greg is a coworker.
He's our like department chair.
Yes.
I would like to file a complaint against you, actually. Like, only a vaultee who was born in the vaults would do that.
It's so
like, if
insane.
you had any experience in the outside world, you would literally never do that. Like, it's so stupid. You'd have to be like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how Lucy was, like, when she first left the vault, she was very vaulty, like.
Yeah.
And even then,
just,
like, she's still holding a bit. She's holding on to a bit of that, right? She's still trying to like hold on to, like the sense of justice that just doesn't seem to exist at all in the surface world, right?
Yeah, it's like they have such a implicit trust in the system and like the process that, if you live in the real world, we see how quickly everything can kind of just get messed up and fall apart, and you don't put all that much faith in stuff like that.
And then we do get a little bit of and Cooper was a part of this. It's mentioned in the games, the Battle of Anchorage, where they fight against the like communists, and it's kind of crazy. Like you get your first kind of glimpse of the Death Claw, and I mean you learn like what the Death Claws are, that there were like created weapons. Like you learn this in the games. I'm telling you, the games are there's a lot to the games, and like this really like enhances the lore for those games, and it validates a lot, and it gives you a visual component to certain things that you only experience through, like I said, visual or auditory like media, right? Like holotapes, notes,
Yeah.
memos or whatever.
It almost feels like, if you like the show, you like the show, but there's almost a part of it that's like, I think they're just like, you know what? This is for the Fallout peeps. There's so much of it.
Yeah.
It just feels like this is for the Fallout peeps. It's almost unabashedly, I don't care, figure it out. Like the Death Claws, man. One Death Claw. I remember spending like, there's a rock quarry in one of the games, and I remember spending like, God. And Anthony, you might remember this. The rock quarry, I think it's in New
We're
Vegas.
talking about like the mother Death Claw.
Oh my goodness,
That one's crazy. Yeah.
45 minutes with a
There's a
sniper
mother
rifle.
Death Claw in
all
Fallout
right?
New Vegas, and if you shoot like one of the baby ones, like she will explode on you.
You're sweating. So when I saw all those Death Claws on the strip, it was like, oh my goodness, how could you even handle that? Like,
They're hard to fight in the game, even with power armor. You would literally need like a fully stocked like minigun to take down that mini in the game. I mean, like I would be running. I'd be like, yeah, I know, I'm out of here.
I was swinging my scope around, and Lauren was in the room. All right, my wife's in the room. I'm swinging my scope around, looking for other Death Claws, and one of them just came out from the side, and I screamed like a little rich. I just went, ah! And like tossed the controller in the air, and he's just wapa, wapa, just smacking with his giant claws. I don't, obviously not everyone can go and play these games, man, but this just feels like such a payoff for being such a huge geek for a while. I love these games. I love the idea of, apocalyptic, I'm telling you, I keep things like in my house because I'm like, you know what? This is an item that in Fallout I could use to like make something or fashion something. Like I literally keep things and I justify it in my head by when the apocalypse comes, this will be a good item to have.
Just make sure that you just rip out all the plumbing and use it to build weapons. And there's a lot of like different creatures that in the future that we can experience. It looks like Cooper is headed off to Colorado, right? Because his wife leaves. He finally gets to the vault. His wife and his daughter, they're not in there. She leaves a little message about Colorado. That's something that they had spoken about years ago, and like he remembers it. I'm thinking that like he heads out to Colorado, and we might be getting one of those Yao Guai bears. Remember those things? We also need and you get this in 76, but Mothman.
Yes, Mothman. Mothman is real, ladies and gentlemen, and he's in the game. The cryptids of Fallout.
I'm telling you, there's so much to build on, and they've really like they've dug up a lot, but there's still a lot that they could tap into. What did you think about your boy Macaulay Culkin being in the show? Because I mean, from what I read, he's a pretty big Fallout fan.
I don't know who you're talking to, Anthony, but I'm going to jump in here. So I really
I was just kind of like putting it out there in general.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure whose boy Macaulay Culkin was.
Yeah, I was like, who's really into Macaulay Culkin?
I mean, I won't lie. Me and Macaulay Culkin go way back, but I'll let you take this one, Dak.
It's
Sure.
all
Sorry.
our boys because
Sorry,
of
Dakota.
Home Alone.
I'm sorry. That was so disrespectful.
No.
Dakota. I'm sorry.
What'd you call me?
Dakota.
I thought it was Dakota.
What?
Yeah, from Predator
Deck.
Badlands. Dakota. I was just trying to say it quickly, Anthony.
Jumping back onto what you guys were talking about, with it feels like it was written or made for you guys. Like it feels it belongs so closely to the game, and there's so many little things that are from the games that you appreciate it more. It's very clear to me that the entire writer's room was immersed in the lore of this world. Like they were constantly playing these games when they were working on this series, you know, at least when they were writing it. And sometimes you watch an adaptation of a book or a game. It's more often games, but sometimes you watch an adaptation and they'll take creative liberties for the sake of whatever story they want to tell. Recently there was Halo, yep, the Halo series, which took some pretty dramatic.
Literally broke.
Anthony's
all of
really
our hearts.
angry right now.
Broke all of our hearts. Dakota,
I think that's like the angriest I've ever seen
Halo.
Anthony.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know, and that show has been dangled in front of your face for decades. You know, like I think originally like Steven Spielberg wanted to do an adaptation.
I know that Peter Jackson
Halo.
was working on some stuff, and there was some test footage that had leaked out from like Wingnut.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it looked good too. It was like really, really good. So, but yeah, no, we ended up getting a show. They took Master Chief's helmet off. Never in the games. And then it's just the thing is that I don't mind creative liberties, but it has to be within reason, right? Maybe you don't want a 1-to-1, but you want at least it to make sense within the universe. Master Chief never takes off his helmet in front of people. You're not going to be seeing it like that. I don't care what kind of like story you're trying to tell. There's certain things that you just do not do.
But that's the thing. It was written by people who clearly weren't engrossed in the lore to a point where they didn't want to disappoint certain people or anything like that.
Which is crazy,
with
though.
Fallout,
because then you get people like Tony Gilroy that writes Andor. And he,
True.
remember, he's not like somebody that's super like a giant Star Wars fan, but then somehow he knows how to write a story that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he probably like listens to the fans. Like he probably talks to people that are super into it and is like, hey, can I do this?
So what you guys are saying is like,
yeah, fair.
Just being into like the franchise is not enough. Like are you guys saying that like love might not be enough? Because that scares me.
Yeah, that does scare. Yeah. Thanks, Major Briggs. What a great character too. Like I love Major Briggs. Anyway,
Okay, can we say like Rich hated Twin Peaks the whole time we were covering it, but he's the one who keeps bringing it back and referencing it the most.
He loves it. He secretly.
I think he has the bug. Yeah, I think you have it.
Here's
in your
the thing.
heart.
He sends me stuff.
He sends me stuff. He says, "That sounds so."
Anthony, how dare you break
He sends me One Piece.
solemn vow
One
of
Piece,
secrecy?
Twin Peaks things.
Oh no. No, it's so funny because like it's once you watch Twin Peaks, it kind of like codes your brain a little different. Like every now and then Anthony will be like, do you think this character was inspired by this character from Twin Peaks? I'm like, yeah, probably.
It's so funny because like when you watch Twin Peaks, you feel like you're a part of a group that like there's a lot of people, but then also not a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the community is large, but you don't meet a Twin Peaks fan on a regular basis. There are dozens of us.
Yeah, as Tobias says, there are dozens of us.
They're all in the Black Lodge or in therapy. What are the two?
Yeah, there's 4 of us, in this one Zoom meeting alone.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Let's bring this to a close. Final thoughts. I'll throw it over to Jen first. What did you think of Fallout Season 2? Did you enjoy it overall?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I know that this is like a part of his. Rich and I talked about this earlier, actually. Like, it was extremely grotesque, and typically lately I've only been watching TV while I'm eating. So there was a lot of times I'm like, damn, man, like, why do they gotta show me that? Why do I have to hear this squelching right now? But I understand. I understand why I had to be exposed to the harsh realities of the apocalypse. But like I said, I really actually enjoyed the direction that the characters have all taken and how fleshed out they feel. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I had known nothing about the game, and I still had a lot of fun watching it, and I feel like immersed in a very, very unique and complex world.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump forward and say like I too really enjoyed it. I do think not a lot happens over the course of the season. You know, overall, like if you really boil it down, like it's kind of jam packed, it's action packed, but all the characters, they only kind of get from point A to point B by the end of this season. You know, like Lucy finally gets to her father. Coop finally gets to New Vegas and finds his family. Actually, so all right, I'm being
But
I'm
I
being
think
too
Lucy,
simplistic.
like,
It is
especially,
there is a lot that does happen, and I'm
yeah.
not saying that that is a bad thing, that not a lot happens, because I did enjoy it. You know, like it was the journey. You know, that
But I
is
think
part of
even
the fun.
Lucy, like, she went from putting her faith in, like, her dad and the system, and then she was kind of relatively trusting of Cooper, and then when he betrayed her, like, she has, like, these values of, like, friendship and goodness that she thought she could instill in him, but instead, I think he kind of changed her perspective even more.
Mm. I think they changed each other in a way, because when we first see Coop in the first season, he's really quite jaded about the
Mm-hmm.
world in general, and he probably still. I mean, he definitely still is, but he has true purpose by the end of season two. You know, like we see like a fire's lit within him,
Right,
and I like that.
right.
I think that that's cool.
And then he could have easily killed Hank, right? And he was like, that's not
Yeah,
my decision to make. He kind of like paid that forward. Like he kind of did something that she did
yeah,
earlier in the season, right? Like she shot somebody in the butt or their like leg or something like that. So
that's true. Yeah,
yeah, so I really liked him a lot. I think Walton he's magic with this as this character.
he's such a good actor
I
in
mean, I
Yeah.
like
general.
seeing him on
Everything he's in.
screen in
And
general, but
it's
like I really do think that he's leaning into some sort of like artistry that is just it's crazy. And then the fact that he's playing two characters and he does them both very well, he's good.
Yeah, incredible performance.
and his taste in interior design is phenomenal. You could actually find his house in the Hudson Valley online. Beautiful home. The guy's got great taste all around. Good skills.
All right, we kind of derailed that a little bit. Anthony, final thoughts on the season?
Absolutely love it. Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorites, and the fact that we got pretty much so much from it in an 8 episode season, like really just like blew me away. I mean, if you're a Fallout fan and haven't seen it or are skeptical of seeing, the show in general, go in and watch it. And especially if you love Fallout New Vegas, this second season will blow you away. First one too.
Blow you away, pun intended. Rich,
Rip roaring good time. Highly recommend. I mean, listen, this is like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars level, and as if the eagle eye or eagle eared listener would know, I was furious about Lord Rings of Power season 1 until I watched season 2. This is fantastic. I have no complaints. I mean, look, I guess the only thing is if I'm, standing in Dakota and Jen's shoes, I understand why you guys aren't as excited as we are, right? Like, you're absorbing the world, you're trying to understand it, you're trying to navigate it. We've been living in it for such a long time that I think this is fan servicey. But you know what? I'm going to say something kind of controversial and maybe against making money. Sometimes not everything needs to be sometimes things can just be for the people who like that thing. Like, it doesn't have to be for everybody. And I think you can watch this and enjoy it. But I think, man, if you've played these games, it is a different experience. It is what I assume what going to Disney's like, and being able to go to Galaxy's Edge, right? Like being in the world that you've been imagining for years. I've spent like, you guys laugh about Red Dead Redemption, right? But man, before Red Dead, There was, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas. Like, those were my games. Like, I dedicated before Charlie was born. Forget it. I just went everywhere. And it was a video game that allowed me to cheat. If I worked hard enough to build one skill, I could freeze the game and, as Jen said earlier, grotesquely shoot open someone's brains. And it was so satisfying to do that. Highly recommended. I think that explores so many interesting themes about what it means to be a parent, what it means to be a human. There are so many layers to this show. It's one of my favorite things that we've watched as a group.
We're
I like how
veterans
I'm
of the
like,
wasteland.
yeah, I'm like, I enjoyed this, and Anthony and Rich are like, well, we enjoyed it harder.
So
Well, that was
I just want to,
but like
Yeah.
we've
Like,
seen
I liked
things-
this.
We've seen things that like
Yeah.
we're like, if you can watch it without knowing much about the source material and still enjoy it, but it pays off when you do know the source material.
No, I get it. I think what he said about Galaxy's Edge helped me I didn't really understand until you said that. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
That's
So-
kind of what
so-
it's
Sure.
like. Yeah.
Because my brother goes, but he doesn't watch Star Wars, and he's like, oh, this is cool, that's cool. But if you know the characters and stuff, it's way cooler.
If you
What,
know,
what I
you
will
know.
say about Fallout, the series, you said that it doesn't have to. Not everything like has to like shy away from like member berries and Easter eggs and just fan service in general. I never once felt like I was being fed Easter eggs and member berries and fan service.
That's
like
cool.
This all just felt like this is something that exists in this world. This is what we're gonna use. And it never felt like suddenly Thor's hammer got picked up. Like I never got that moment where like I was taken out of the story because of some mythical item that I should have probably known, if that makes any sense.
It
I
doesn't
guess
make you feel
could say
bad
like
for
a show
not
that
knowing.
kind of does this.
No, it absolutely doesn't. I never felt like I was missing out on anything.
Right.
Wait,
right.
are you?
I guess a show that does it where they make you feel kind of bad for not knowing is like the Star Wars TV shows, where they all started kind of compiling on themselves, and then I feel like if you didn't know, it was just like zoom in on a character, and they would like
Except for
be there,
Kenobi,
and you're like, I guess
so-
this person's important.
Except for Kenobi, that was probably the tightest of all the series that they made. Right, Dakota?
Yep. Speaking of tight, I don't know where I'm going to go with this one.
No, I'm disturbed.
No, I don't know where I was going to segue into that, but we are coming tight on time because this is a longer podcast now. We need to figure out what we're doing for the next week. You don't like my segues.
I did not like that segue. I never want to hear you say that again.
I think we haven't given Rich an opportunity to choose something.
Yes.
And I think that we're still not going to do that. But I do recommend, because baseball season's coming up, we should throw Rich a ball, rather, and do a baseball movie like Major League with Charlie Sheen.
Ladies and
And then no more baseball talk for the rest of the baseball
I can't
season.
find
How
it
about
right
that?
now, but I just want you to know that I actually own it on DVD, and it's covered
Whoa.
in AstroTurf, right? So that it has it looks like a baseball field. Also, as a sneak preview, his name is Joe Boo. He is a really important character in the movie, and I received him as a birthday gift a couple of years ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you thought I saw Back to the Future a lot, this is actually the #1 movie that I've seen. I want all of you, I implore you, go watch it. Go watch it so that you can join us next week on our journey, because it's going to be so much fun.
Anthony, are you cool with Major League?
Yeah, we can.
He looks thrilled,
We can
guys.
do that, and then
You know what,
then,
Anthony?
then
You're
Rich
gonna
is
love
gonna, then like on top of this, he's gonna have a weekly baseball podcast that he's gonna do with Dakota, where they talk about the Mets and the Yankees.
It's going to be a podcast. You know what? The side podcast is going to be I don't know, like long live the drive home, and it's gonna be me, my
Oh,
wife, and my
God.
son coming home from Met games, and just the complaints that we have about that day. So it won't even be really about the Mets. It might be like my wife's angry that like the sausage and peppers was a little soggy, you know, like so. Stay tuned
right.
for
That
that
sounds
content.
riveting.
It's gonna be great.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to us here for our 154th episode of Project Ecology. We had a lot of fun talking Fallout Season 2. Next week, for 155, we are covering Major League, which is a baseball comedy. So let's do it, guys. Don't forget that 5-star juicy review. If you want to check out any of our socials, be sure to click down into the show notes below to find more of what we've been up to. Thanks, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good one.
Bye.
The Wolverine.